Ladies and gentlemen, this could possibly be the end for Russell Wilson. We all know that he had a rough season last year, and many believe that new head coach Sean Payton for the Denver Broncos was brought in to save Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson is not blameless in last year's disaster for the Denver Broncos. And various NFL insiders are letting us know that Sean Payton is not sold on Russell Wilson, and Payton has even gone out of his way to praise a new QB he signed, even saying that he believes he can be a starter in the NFL. With all this news together, it really seems like this could quite possibly be the very end for Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. I am trying to cover some of my favorite stories around the NFL, so make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want more content from me, WiFiWillie. Last year was a disaster for Russell Wilson, mainly because everybody knew that it was not the defense's fault for the Broncos. Everybody knew that the offense was failing week in and week out.
You know who I feel bad for? The Denver Broncos defense.
And the viral moments did not help Russell Wilson, mainly all these freaking TikToks.
So when you're at the house, in your own kitchen, you gotta get the whole squad here ready to pick out your suits.
And most of these are his own TikToks that he decides to upload, coupled with these Subway commercials that he gets paid to do. All of this just looked really cringe and embarrassing for Russell Wilson while he was losing football games week in and week out. And even his supporters started to turn on him. You had fans booing Russell Wilson during all of the games. And you had receivers flipping out on Russell Wilson during the football game. KJ Hamler having a freaking tantrum because Russell Wilson just could not get it done in the red zone. And you also had Russell Wilson trying to pump everybody up at halftime, trying to get some high fives, and not many people were obliging. And it really just went completely downhill when during a freaking game, Russell Wilson had a defensive lineman yell at him, had him yell directly in his face. They've tried to sort of sweep this under the rug. We don't really know exactly what was said. Many of us joke that perhaps he yelled at him because Russell Wilson told him, "Let's ride."
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
And on top of that, we always hear the reports that Russell Wilson is phony. He's not straight up with his teammates. He's a little corporate. And he even had his former teammates like Richard Sherman have no problem slamming him in the media. And now you have a new report here from NFL insider Keyshawn Johnson, who's saying that Sean Payton is not 100% sold on this guy. We had Keyshawn Johnson in the media saying that people think he's phony.
People think he's phony. People think he's a phony. It's all an act.
Some of his former teammates and Richard Sherman seems to sort of back this up. But you had Russell Wilson's current teammates defend him in the media, and this actually ended up making Russell Wilson very emotional.
It meant the world to me because I give my all every day. I don't know anything less.
And to me, this just showed that all this negative press, all this negative attention was really actually getting to Russell Wilson, even though he tries to stay positive and say, "Let's ride."
Broncos country. Let's ride.
But what matters the most is Russell Wilson to blame for the lack of a passing game with the Denver Broncos? Is it really all former head coach Nathaniel Hackett's fault? And it seems like with some of the frustration you've seen from teammates on the field, even though they try to back him up in the media, and the fact that Russell Wilson is getting emotional about this, seems to be affected by the negative energy, just shows that maybe he knows that he may be culpable for some of the poor performance that the Denver Broncos had last year. And Nathaniel Hackett was scapegoated last year, but Sean Payton has been hired as the new head coach. The Denver Broncos had to trade a first-round pick for him and pay him a fat contract. And we know Payton has a great resume. He's won a Super Bowl. He's groomed the Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees. So if this season goes poorly, the blame is not going to go on Sean Payton, and it's definitely going to go on Russell Wilson. And you had Keyshawn Johnson in the media make this clear, and it seems like he knows something is up. So even though Sean Payton can save Russell Wilson, really, Russell Wilson is on a short lease here. Keep in mind, the Denver Broncos are owned by the Walton family, very wealthy family. They own Walmart. So even though Russell Wilson has a fat contract, I believe they could pay out his contract if they wanted to and find a way to make the cap work. And Sean Payton has had people make comments about him. Not only has Keyshawn Johnson made some comments that, hey, they would not be afraid to move on from Russell Wilson after this season, but you also had Terry Bradshaw make some comments earlier in the season where he suggested that Sean Payton, well, he's stuck with Russell Wilson.
Arizona, no, he don't want to work with that quarterback.
But he'd rather work with Russ?
I don't think so, but you know what? That's all he's got.
Yeah.
So we got insiders making it clear that Sean Payton is not sold on Russell Wilson, and Sean Payton is even making statements in the media and making roster moves that show us he is not sold on Russ. Sean Payton has signed his own quarterback, and he's even gone out in the media and say that this guy could be a starter in the NFL. And this is a former Raiders quarterback who balled out against the San Francisco 49ers defense last year. The Raiders did not offer him the contract he wanted, and Jarrett Stidham, the 26-year-old QB out of Auburn, signed a 2-year contract with the Broncos this past offseason worth $10 million. This is a decent investment for a quarterback. It has $5 million guaranteed, and Sean Payton seems to love this guy because he went out in the media and just raved about the kid.
Quietly, that was an important sign for us. So the evaluation was pretty crystal clear for all of us. I think he's someone that's going to be great in the room. He's smart. He's smart at the line of scrimmage. It's a number 2 that his arrow is moving in a direction where he can become an NFL starter in our league.
So it seems like the groundwork is already laid if there is a situation where Russell Wilson does not work out. But all in all, the Denver Broncos are stuck with Russell Wilson for the 2023 season. Yes, there can be some ways that they manipulate the cap to move on from him in 2024, but either way, they are still going to eat some dead money for giving this guy a fat contract when they traded for him prior to the 2022 season. Let me know in the comments below if you believe Russell Wilson will last with the Denver Broncos. Will he make it past 2023 or even 2024? If you want more NFL content from me, make sure you check out some of these other videos you may have missed and subscribe to WiFiWillie NFL for more NFL content. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.